Are you prepared to survive the end of civilization? Are you ready in case everything falls apart? In case a comet collides with our planet? In case a solar flare erupts? In case war erupts or our governments fall? Are you ready for what comes next? And no, I am not talking about being a prepper. I am not talking about hunkering down with 10 years worth of toilet paper and buckets of freeze-dried food and ammunition stockpiled just so you can prepare for this zombie apocalypse. Because, if you know me, I am not built to survive in those kind of conditions. I'm just gonna let the zombies take me. I am totally cool with that. But what I am talking about is an emotional and mental preparedness for the worst. Because we live in very uncertain times. We live in scary times. We see conflict brewing across the world. We see the dissolution of democracy and safeguards for our freedoms. And who knows what will come next. And hopefully everything will be fine. Hopefully we will be safe and our rights will be protected and we will be well. But you never know. Throughout history, we've seen civilizations fall like dominoes, one after another after another. We've seen it from internal things going bad with corruption from within. We've seen it from external forces like supervolcanoes or mega earthquakes or the poles shifting. I'm not here to be morbid. I'm not here to scare you. But my mortality is something that I think about pretty much every single day. Because I want to be prepared that if the worst were to happen, how can I gracefully surrender? How can I gracefully let go of the life I've had and step into whatever comes next? Even if that comes next is something really sometimes terrifying. Because when I think of the most graceful, beautiful humans that I know, they're not the ones that fight to make things be a certain way. They don't try to force the world to conform to their views. They don't try to outlive their human lifespan or dominate the entire world and force it to bend to their will. The most interesting people that I see, that I aspire towards, are those who practice going with the flow, cultivating a state of peace, finding joy wherever they are. And knowing that love is the force that drives us. Love is the force that makes life worth living. And whether we live for 150 years, or 50 years, or 5 years, or however long, how do we focus on those things that really deeply matter? So hey guys, nice to be here with you. My name is Kalen. It's a pleasure. I am an ecstatic spiritual life coach. I help people come home to their ecstatic, joy-filled, yummy selves. And like many of you, you've probably been watching the news and seeing the state of things going on, whether it's in the Middle East or Ukraine or here in the United States. And there's a lot to make us feel afraid. There's a lot for us to fear for our safety. A lot of existential dread is rising. And part of that dread is trying to figure out how can you make yourself safe. And by all means, please do the things that make you feel safe, whether that means stockpiling toilet paper and food or looking at where in the world you can go that feels like you'll be protected from the coming forces. But the external stuff matters, I think, less than the internal stuff. Even in the best of times, there's always challenges. Even in the best of times, something could go unexpectedly wrong. Any of us could accidentally get hit by a bus or fall down a flight of stairs, and that's it. That's the end. And I think we see a lot of people who are trying to become transhumanist, where they're trying to escape their humanity through technology or artificial life extension practices or downloading their consciousness in machines. We see a lot of people trying to defend their mortality through being a prepper, through trying to escape whatever's coming in the rest of the world. And I don't buy into that. Albert Einstein, when he reached the end of his life, he refused medical treatment that would have helped him live more years. Because in his words, he said, "I want to go when I want. It is tasteless to prolong life artificially. I have done my share. It's time to go." And I think that's really beautiful. I think there's something really lovely about just acknowledging that life has a cadence. I think many of the ills that we experience as a society right now are because people, leaders, individuals are afraid of death. They're afraid of diminution. They're afraid of things ending and slowing down and decaying. Our whole society thrives on this notion of continual growth, perpetual evolution, continual expansion. And we've turned into a manic society because we don't believe in rest. We don't believe in decrease. We don't believe in aging. We think we always have to be the best and the biggest and growing bigger and better. And there's a peace that comes from acknowledging your mortality. There's a comfort that comes from saying, I only have a certain number of days on this planet, and they might be long, they might be short. I have no control over that. The only thing I have control over is the quality that I engage those days with. So when I think about what really matters in life, a few things pop up for me. The first is, are we evolving and are we growing? Are we using this time on earth to become a better version of ourselves? Because I believe that consciousness is not confined to birth and death. I believe that our souls or consciousness are eternal, that they last, that we go from lifetime to lifetime, like beads being strung onto a string to create a necklace. And when we continue our next lifetime, we will take that learning, we will take that evolution with us. And so this is but one short stint on a much longer journey. I also believe that it is our responsibility to try and make this planet just a little bit better than we found it. This is a big part of the reason why I do these videos, why I engage with y'all, why I write my books, why I post online, is to say, can I just do a small thing today to improve the lives of even if it's just one or two others? Can I do something to maybe make the world just ever so slightly better? 3, am I engaging in practices of sharing love? Because I really do think love is the constant that binds all things. We are all aspects of the divine incarnate. We are all parts of the cosmic oversoul. The power, the expression of that God consciousness is love. And so when we tap into that, when we feel love for each other, when we feel love for ourselves, we're dwelling in that God energy. So am I moving closer and closer to that in my daily expression? And that ties me into my 4th thing, which is, who am I sharing that with? Am I spending time with people that I find to be meaningful? Am I surrounding myself with individuals who are uplifting and beautiful and thoughtful and soulful? Because I really think the connections we share is a huge part of the reason we're here, the experiences that we have together. I went a couple weeks ago to go see Death Becomes Her, the musical on Broadway, which, if you haven't got a chance, go. It is one of the best things I've ever seen. But one of the, it's not a spoiler, everybody knows, one of the plot points of this is that the leads cannot die, and so they just wander off into eternity together, and how tragic that is. But they have each other. That ends up being kind of the theme of the musical that's very different from the movie, is how lucky they are to have one another. And how terrible would it be for us to go through life with all our meaningful connections gone? Watch any of these disaster movies and you find somebody who's, staked out and surviving for 30, 40 years past the apocalypse alone. Would you want that? Would you want to survive without meaningful connection, without your loved ones there? Because I wouldn't. I think that life is meaningful specifically because we have energy and experiences and thoughts to share with others. I know my life has improved dramatically since I found my husband and we've cultivated a life together, to the point that neither of us really want to go travel without the other, because the joy of sharing that experience is what makes it really wonderful. So I don't care to outlive my friends and my family and my meaningful connections. And so if something happens where we can't all be together, I'm okay with letting go. And this is the thing that I really think is those people who seem like they really got their shit together, they're really doing well on their spiritual journey, are okay no matter what happens. That they've reached this state of deep, deep surrender to life. That no matter what comes to them, they're okay. If they have to leave this planet, they're okay. If they have to say goodbye to things they love, it's okay. So just be in a state of peace. Because peace is such a blessing. And it's nice when other circumstances give us that. It's nice to be on vacation, on a beach, in a hammock, drinking a pina colada, and peace just comes. But it's more important that we're able to cultivate that state of peace wherever we are. That no matter what's going on in the world, that we find that peace within. Because no war, no dictator, no solar flare or volcano can take that away from you if you know that that is your truth. If you know that you can stay in peace and love and connection regardless of what's going on out there, because you are responsible for your state of being, and that no matter what comes you can maintain poise, tranquility, love, compassion, then you've arrived at an amazing place that we see few achieve at this time on this planet. We look at our social leaders and they fail in so many regards. They're not as loving, compassionate, empathic, thoughtful, kind, calm, honest as humans are capable of. So how do we become the living examples for ourselves and for each other? How do we develop into our best selves? And how do we make the most of whatever time we have, whether it's minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years, decades, or centuries? And know that the learning and the experiences and the love you share is never lost. That will transcend life and death. This will transcend time and space. Those things will always be there for you. So that when it's time to transition off this globe and you go to your life review and you go back through everything you've done in your life, you can say, I wasn't perfect, but I did the best I could, and I'm proud of the choices I made. I'm proud of how I've grown. I'm proud of the love I've given and received. I'm proud that I made, even if it was just for one or two others, the world just a little bit of a better place. So no matter what's happening in the world, I hope you find that peace. I hope you prepare for the apocalypse or the end of civilization and realize no matter what comes, you're going to be okay. Because you are vast, you are eternal, and you are something more magnificent than words could ever describe. I'm Kalen. It's a pleasure to share these thoughts with you today. May you be blessed, may you be well, may you shine bright. Sending you all my love wherever you are in the world.